This question is definitely more complicated. I mean, you need to understand some things just to understand even how to use Desmos here. So in the given equation, b is a constant. For which of the following values of b will the equation have no real solutions? So when we talk about a quadratic and solutions, we can think of it two ways. So we could just take this equation and put it into Desmos. And what will happen is, like we've seen before, we are going to get two vertical lines because there's basically only one variable. The b is going to be replaced with one of these. So in a way, we are also going to guess and check here and just try out these different values of b. We could use the slider and try to find it, but there's no reason to. We are just going to take the four values that they give us and see what happens. But here's the thing. I don't like that method because when we have those vertical lines and we want no solutions, what we're looking for on the graph is no vertical lines. And that's messy. So I'll show you what that looks like. But what I would actually do here is, if I'm talking about solutions and I have a quadratic, I actually prefer to convert that into x-intercepts. And that's going to be a much more visual way of representing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kill the end part. And all that does is give me now a actual parabola on the graph. So the only reason that works is that it's equal to 0. So remember, quadratics are really good when they equal 0 because that's how we solve them algebraically. But we're not solving this algebraically. We're going to go straight to Desmos. But in turning it back into a parabola, I'm going to get something more usable. So just to show you here, we're going to do 28 x squared. Let me type this up. Plus, I'm going to do bx. We'll do that. Plus 23. And you see, I'm going to leave off the end, and it's going to give me the option and a slider. And when I do, it's going to give me a parabola. I just don't know where it is. Up there it is, right? So it's all the way up there. So what should we do? Well, let's start by talking about these different values that they give us. So let's go back and let's turn this into just choice A. So negative 49. And we can see we have that parabola. I'm going to stretch it a little bit. And since I'm looking for the number of x-intercepts, I can see this parabola turns away from the x-axis. So it doesn't actually hit it. So right now, this looks good. I've put in negative 49 for b. It has graphed the parabola and no x-intercepts. So seems like no solutions. That's probably the answer. Let me just change it, though, to negative 51 and see what happens. Now, when I do that, you can just barely see it. Right? It's clearly, though, hitting that x-axis and going below it very briefly. So this has two solutions. I can even tap them at 0.8214 and 1. So that's no good. And if I keep going down, if I go to like something like 62, we're going to see we have the same problem, except now it's going to be even more pronounced, right? So there again, we have two solutions. We have two x-intercepts. So this and this will both do that. So basically, that proves that A is right. But I do want to show you why we can see that A is right. If we had done it the other way, we might have been a little bit less, I don't know, confident in our answer. So if I do add in, even keeping the B, keeping it as negative 62, which we know is a wrong answer, if I add in equals 0, notice my parabola turns into two vertical lines, right? Because now what it's doing is, instead of graphing the quadratic as a parabola, it is solving the values for x. So it's going to graph those as vertical lines. So it's telling me, because I have two of them, that there are two solutions to the equation that they originally gave me when I put negative 62 in for b. So that's what we thought when we had it graphed as a parabola. That is now what it shows when we have it graphed as a set of solutions. But let's change the negative 62 back to what we know the right answer is. Let's change that back to 49. Nothing happens, right? Because think about it. If there are no solutions, then we shouldn't see any vertical lines because the vertical lines represent the solutions. But right now, I'd be a little nervous. Is it just that there's no solutions, or did I just not zoom out enough, right? So I could do that. I could just zoom out until I get to like crazy numbers where I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm at negative 500. It's probably not there. But I don't know. That seems a little bit less certain to me. And I do know that the SAT, sometimes plays with big numbers just to mess with us. So my advice for something like this is, when you have a quadratic and you're being asked for the number of solutions, get it back into basically y equals format so you can see it as a parabola, and you can literally see that parabola either cross the x-axis or not, And that to me is visual proof, no matter how many solutions there are, that you have the right value. So just, a little bit of nuance here, but still I'm using Desmos. I'm not really doing any algebra here. I might have to do algebra if they didn't give me answer choices, but yeah, I'm going to use the calculator as much as I can.